Hi all, good morning. So today we are taking this Adhoc session on lambda function. So how I used to take sessions on the SQL, right? Like we used to take additional sessions like Adhoc session whenever I find any interesting topic, any interesting question. So similarly, I have planned weekly once, at least on Sunday, maybe for 30 minutes or 1 hour, I will take a session on Python because a lot of things are there in Python to study. It depends on the job profile, whether you're working as a data engineer, data analyst, or you're working on the business intelligence side, or maybe on the machine learning end. So it depends, and accordingly, Python is a lot of things are there to study. So that's what I plan. Everything is not possible to cover in a course. Yeah, so in a course, we cover the generic Python terms, which is applicable to most of the job profile. But then a plan, let's take some ad hoc sessions as well on the interesting or the new topics, any other question, like whatever uh, my students are asking me, or during my MTech course, if I am uh, visiting some interesting questions which I covered during our classroom sessions. So I thought, okay, let's cover it. So we're starting with lambda function. There are a few other topics which we'll be covering down the line, like web scraping, then connecting database through Python. Although those who have attended my data analyst workshop, I have covered that, but still many of the participants they have not attended it. So I'm planning to cover that as well. And then API integration with Python. So these are the few topics like threading and all those things. So one by one we'll cover all these things. And if you come across any other topic which you want me to cover, you can ping in your group. I will add in those list of topics. Okay. Fine then. Hope my screen is visible to everyone and my voice is audible.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Now, I know like lambda function, many of you get confused with the lambda function. And whenever I take interview as well, many participants, they get confused with the lambda function. And many a times they give me a ready-made answer. And I can understand, that yes, they don't know the internal or the in-depth, like why we have a lambda function. Okay, so I will try to make it very simple. So at least you can understand the difference between lambda function and with any other ordinary function. Okay, I know that is the problem. Many of you find here to distinguish what is lambda function and how it is different from the regular function, and we will see some examples as well. Okay, so to understand this, first of all, I will show you two scenarios. Okay, scenario one, you have a street side vendors, right? Like on the street side, and there will be food courts will be there, or the vendors will be there. They'll be selling some what again, fast food or any other food items, right? So sometimes it happens like you are in a hurry, you will go there and you can order something like, okay, I want a roll, maybe egg roll, veg roll, chicken roll, whatever. So quickly they will prepare it, they will wrap it in a piece of paper and they will serve it to you. And just by standing over there, you can eat it and you can save some time, right? All that's not a good practice. But we all have seen that. And that is why this, like the street vendors, that culture is getting what I can say, dominated these days, and it is getting mushroomed, right? You all know about that, right? Not only that, Raw, many other things are also there. To some street vendors, if you'll go, they have a lot of other items as well, right? And based on your requirement, you can tell and they will serve you immediately, right? This is one scenario. I hope this is clear, right? The second scenario is you're going for a dinner with your family. Then obviously you will go to a restaurant. When you will go to a restaurant, there are certain what I can say, like process is there. There will be a security guard at the gate. He will open the door for you. He will wish you. Then you'll go and you will sit on the dining table. Then the waiter will come. He will serve you water, and he will arrange the dining table. He will keep the spoons, forks, and the napkin and all those things, right? And then you have freedom to select. He will give you that menu card. The menu card will be on the table, and then you have freedom to you can select the food items whatever you want from the menu card. And then we will tell to the waiter, okay, I want this particular food items, the dessert, the main course, the starter, whatever it may be, the drinks. And then maybe after 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or 20 minutes, the waiter will come in a well professional way, right? And the waiter will be dressed uh, and he will start serving the food to you. And again, while serving the food, there are certain protocols which he has to follow. Correct. And once that is over, again, he will bring that bill and all those things. So these are the two scenarios I presented in front of you. And these are the very normal scenarios which we all encounter in our day-to-day life, right? These two scenarios are clear. Okay. Now, if I will ask you which one is better, scenario one is better or scenario two is better? Tell me. Which scenario is better, one or two?
Scenario one because it is fast.
Scenario one is fast. Good point. I totally agree. Scenario one is fast. Sometimes you are in a hurry. You have to catch a train. You are feeling hungry. You will go to that street vendor. You will tell, "अरे भाई चलो एक veg roll दे दो यार." So quickly he will prepare it within 5 minutes. सब कुछ हो जाता है, right? He will prepare it and आप चलते रहोगे and then you can eat it. That's all. You are right. Scenario one is better from the time perspective. You can save some time there. Okay. Any other thought?
I would say second scenario is good for.
Second scenario, why? What is the logic for it?
Yeah, because there are they maintain very good quality and all the
All right.
things
Agree. Quality agreed.
and
Then
security purpose also we can safely go to there and safety also.
agree. Agree. Okay. Anyone else? And बहुत ही simple question मैंने किया है. I want to understand your perception so that I can correlate this with the lambda function. कोई और thought? Any other thought? Anyone?
Tanvir, can you just repeat the second scenario?
Sanvir, hi
Scenario,
Tanvir, good morning. I just
yeah.
joined now.
Ajay.
What was the scenario
अच्छा
one
अच्छा
and
ठीक
scenario
ठीक
two?
ठीक ठीक
Yeah.
let me quickly recap it. So I told like scenario one is like your street vendors, right? Suppose I'm feeling hungry, I will go to the street vendor. I will tell him, "Kyare bhai, quickly I want, let's say, half plate chowmin." So quickly he will prepare chowmin. He will give that to me and I can eat it. Or maybe I will tell I want roll, veg roll, egg roll, anything. So he will prepare it and I will eat it, right? And we can save some time. And that is why it is giving birth to your street food culture, right? है ना? आप देखते हो कहीं पर एक vendor है, you will go there, you will ask कि I want this item and just you are standing there, he will prepare immediately, he will serve that to you. Your momos culture, why it is that much famous? So on the roadside, you will see like people there selling momos. And go there, you will order quickly. Or maybe at 2 minutes, 1 minute के अंदर already it is like it is getting boiled and they will serve. That's scenario one, the street food. Street food. Scenario two, I told about a traditional restaurant. You're going in a restaurant, there'll be someone who will welcome you. You will sit on the dining table, and then a waiter will come. You will be having a menu card. You will tell that, "Oh, all these food items I want." Then he will start serving it, right? So that is what these two scenarios I told, and I was asking that which scenario is better. So someone told me that I think Rajput told me that Tanvir scenario one is better because we can save some time, right? And then I got the response about scenario two. In scenario, Malappa told in scenario two, Tanvir it is better because we have safety concerns and the quality will be good. I totally agree. That is what I'm asking. Do you have any other thought? Which scenario is better, one or two?
Two Tanvir.
Two.
I
Acha.
think both
How?
the scenario have their own functions. Like it depends what we want. When we want security, yes, scenario two is
Both
better.
have
But
their
if
own
we want,
pros and cons, right? Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay. Correct. I totally agree. Scenario one is good because you can save some time, right? You don't have all those drama. Okay, you will go and sit on the dining table. Waiter will come. You will place order. You have to wait for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Then the order will be served. Then you will eat it, and then you have to go to the bill counter. You have to pay for that. Then you are giving tips to the waiter and all those things. You don't have all this drama. In the scenario one, you will go to that street food side and you will tell भैया मेरे को ये चाहिए. He will serve it immediately. और UPI payment किया चलते बने, right? Scenario two, you have a process, right? But they both have their own use cases. That is what your lambda function and the other regular function. Lambda function is like your street food. Okay? The other regular function, whatever we have studied, yeah, you have studied, that is like your traditional restaurant. There you have to first of all tell to that Python, okay, I want to create a function. You have to write def. Okay, I want to create a function. Then you have to mention what all the steps you want to perform. Then you have to print the output. Then you have to return something. If the function is expecting some argument, you have to provide that argument. So in the regular functions or the traditional functions, whatever you have studied, we have certain set of steps or process which you have to follow. I'm telling at a very high level difference. I will show you the examples one by one, okay? But in the lambda function, it is like a ready-made thing, quickly, like fast food, like the street food. Okay, quickly you will define it and you can get the output. So at a very high level, this is the difference between the lambda function and the regular function. Now, if you will Google now, you will see that the definition of lambda function, that lambda function is an anonymous function. It has no name, blah, blah, blah. So we will discuss all those things, why we are telling that lambda function is a anonymous function. What is the reason for it? All these things we'll study. Okay. Now, before that, एक minute. Now see, I'm defining a function here, lambda function. So this is an example of lambda function. Okay. I have just written, okay, I want this, and I'm proceeding with the assumption that the basics of Python you all know. Okay, especially that is why I have shared in the groups where I have taken the classes, Python classes. So I'm proceeding that you all know the variables and all those thing definitions. So here I have the variable square. This can be anything. Don't go with the name ki bhaiya this is square because we're defining a square, so we have to write a square. No, you can write anything here. You can write your name as well. Tanveer, Rakesh, Mohan, Abdul, Sohan, whatever you want, you can write here. So I prefer writing it as a square. This is like your normal variable. ये variable है. It has nothing to do with the lambda. ठीक है? Now here I have written lambda function. Okay. So the moment I will write lambda function, so Python will understand कि अच्छा तनवीर को कुछ तो calculation करना है. Tanveer wants to do some calculation. That's all. Lambda is a function for us, but for Python, it is like we are just telling to Python कि अरे यार मेरे को कुछ simple calculation करना है. I want to do some calculation. That's all. That is known as lambda function. Okay. So it's like a quick response to Python. We are telling, hey, why Python do this calculation here and give me the output. So what Python will do, Python will understand, oh, then we will give some input, which is X. Always in lambda function, before this colon, whatever you write, it will act as an input. So Python will understand, oh, this is something input which Tanvir will provide. And based on this input, I have to do this operation. That's all, cut to cut. It's straightforward. Got it? So when I'm writing here, print is square 5. So now the Python will understand, yo, Tanvir is calling this a square and he's providing the value 5 as an input to this. So when I'm providing 5 as an input to this, so Python will understand, yo, the value of X is 5. Tanvir is providing the value of X as 5 here. So here the value of X will become 5. So as of now, if I have to explain you this in a detailed manner, I can tell if Python will convert this X to 5. Now this 5 is an input, then Python knows that I have to perform this operation. So what it will do, 5 to the power 2, it will display 25. That is why when I will execute this, you are getting output 25. कुछ समझ में आया? Little bit you understood? नहीं समझ में आया?
Yes, Tanvir.
Yes, Tanvir. Understood.
Well, I'm not directly jumping into the core lambda function and all those things. I'm going step by step because based on my experience while taking interviews, मेरे को ऐसा लगा कि most of the participants उनको ये confusion है कि what is lambda function and the regular function. या regular function में ये काम कर सकते हैं, then why we are having this lambda function. That is why I'm going from that angle. ठीक है? Now listen. Same thing if you want to do with the regular function. Now you can challenge me. Tanvir, what is special here, yeah? You are deriving the square now. So I can do the same thing using this as well, Tanvir. I will define a function is square. I'm telling to Python that I want this is square function and I'm providing this x as a parameter. And then this function has to return x to the power 2, a square. So if I'm printing it, Tanvir, I'm getting the same output now. Why I should go for lambda function, right? See the difference. I totally agree with you. 100% I agree. Your traditional method of defining function, DEF, function name, you're accepting some parameters here, then you're doing some calculation here, then you're printing here. I totally agree. ये भी सही है. This is also correct. This is giving the same output. But you have some set of protocols, you have some set of steps which you have to follow here, right? So in the scenarios where you want to quickly do some calculation, we go for lambda function. But I am not telling, मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूं कि lambda function is very good, lambda function is far better than your regular function, that I'm not commenting. So just with this explanation ये derive मत कर लेना कि Tanvir is telling the lambda function is far better than your regular function. I'm not commenting anything on it. That we will discuss at a later point of time. So far, I have just told a lambda function is something like quickly you want to do some calculation, you just write lambda. Python will understand, yo, Tanvir will give some input, I have to give some output. That's all. That is your lambda function. Same thing you can do with the regular function. This is the solution for it. But here you have a certain set of process or protocols or the steps which you have to follow. This is the difference. So far, any question?
No, sir.
So in one line, I can tell like whatever we have discussed so far, this is the summary. जो भी मैंने अभी तक बोला उसका भाई summary ये है कि both the lambda and the regular function will give you the same output, but lambda function is more concise. ये थोड़ा concise है. मैंने बस यही बताया अभी तक और मैंने कुछ नहीं बताया. Any questions so far? क्लियर है?
सर
थोड़ा जल्दी बोलो
सर
यार.
मुझे एक डाउट है सर।
हाँ,
नॉर्मल फंक्शन में सर हमने एक्स पैरामीटर डिफाइन किया है सर, लैम्डा फंक्शन में सर ये नॉर्मल फंक्शन में सर हम मल्टीपल पैरामीटर्स डिफाइन कर सकते हैं सर, बट लैम्डा में सर
good. This is the misconception. Very good question. This is the very dangerous misconception. Many candidates, they have this perception कि when I am using lambda function, I can use only one parameter. ये एक misconception है. Nothing like that. This is purely misconception. Let me give you another example. That is why I have already taken all these examples before the class. देखो. Now take this example. I'm having this variable multiply. I'm telling Python कि मेरे पास एक lambda anonymous, and I will tell you why this is known as anonymous function. So I'm telling this is a lambda function. Now, before colon, how many parameters I have written here? A comma B, two parameters, right? So the meaning of this is I'm telling to Python, कि Python, this lambda function will give you two inputs. Let's say A and B. Okay. And for this two inputs, you have to perform A into B. ये इसका मतलब हुआ. This is the meaning. That's all. I'm telling Python, I will give you two inputs, A and B. You perform this operation. That's all. So now see, check the output. Are you getting 3 into, so when I'm calling this variable multiply, it is expecting two inputs A and B.
Yes.
A is 3, B is 4. Output is A into B. 3 into 4 is 12. Hope this is clear.
Yes.
Is your lambda function accepting two inputs now? So this misconception, hope this is clear, कि lambda cannot accept more than one input. ये clear है?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
yes sir.
Okay, good. So nothing like that. कि lambda can accept only one input or lambda cannot do complicated calculations. सब कुछ lambda कर सकता है. But where to use which one, that comes with experience. And I will give you some example. Like in a car, you have a small size nut and bolt. You have a big size nut and bolt. But they both have their own significance now. आप नहीं कह सकते हो कि यार बड़ा वाला नट बोल्ट ज्यादा अच्छा है. नहीं. Where the small size nut and bolt is needed, you have to use that only. और जहां पर बड़ा साइज का चाहिए, you have to use that only, right? So they both have their own significance, correct? So that is what and that will come with the experience, which one to use. Okay, but I will quote some examples to first of all clarify the misconceptions. Now, next example, and please stop me if you think that something is not clear. Okay, now next example. Now see, I have this list of tuples. So 2, 3. I'm assuming that you all know what is list and tuple. I'm not going to cover it now. If anyone is interested, तो यार मेरे को बता देना. I will take a separate session again on list and tuple. So 2, 3 is one tuple, 1, 5 is another tuple, 4, 1 is another tuple, and this entire list I have saved in this variable points. This can be anything. आपको points नहीं पसंद है अपना नाम लिख देना. Your wish. You can write anything here. I don't want to repeat it again and again. कि variable can be anything. Your wish. जो चाहे डाल दो. ठीक है? Now here I am telling points dot sort. You all have studied sort. It is used to sort the values. It is very much similar to your order by in SQL. Those who are coming from the SQL background, this is very much similar to order by which you have in SQL. Now I am telling to Python key equals lambda. Now in this example, I have written lambda. In this example as well, I have written lambda. This is why lambda is known as anonymous function. Anonymous means it doesn't have a name. Like in Zoom, you have an option to join as an anonymous user. It means nobody knows who has joined, right? Many social media applications are there where you can join as an anonymous and you can comment anything so that the other person will not be able to understand कि भैया किसने comment किया. That is why this is known as anonymous function, because you are not giving any name to this. So you are just telling Python, I will give some input, you have to give some output. Python, I don't have that much time, I will give some name to this. And that is why randomly we will write lambda. That's why this is known as anonymous function. You don't have to take that headache of defining every time name to it. You just write lambda, Python will understand, user will give some input, I have to get some output. That's all. Okay? Now, similarly, I have written key is equal to lambda. It means Python understood, oh, Tanvir will give some input, I have to get some output. Now, here if I will ask you, what is input? Input क्या है यहाँ पर? Point.
Point.
Point input.
Point.
What is output here?
Point.
Point one.
Of index
So,
1.
Point one ये output है. अब we will discuss यार कि what is this point, what is this point one. You point नहीं इसको zero बाद में बंदे. We will discuss at point of time कि what is zero, what is one. Don't worry about it. So after lambda, before colon, whatever you are getting, that will be input. After colon, whatever you have, that will be output. Is this point clear?
yes.
Yes, Tanvir.
What is input in this example?
A, B. A, comma B.
It's output.
A into B.
Okay. What is the input here?
X.
X.
What is the output?
X
Zero.
into X
to the
into
power
into
square.
2. X
That's
square.
all, right? Okay. Similarly, here the input is point. So I am telling to Python, कि Python I am 8 minutes. Yes, sir. Oh, just a minute, give me 1 minute. ठीक है. So yeah, I am telling I will give some input. You have to give some output to it. Now see, I am executing. Now I will explain this. Hold on. कोई question मत पूछना. Let me complete first. Here the input is point. So when I'm calling this points, okay, so Python will understand कि oh, this is the points which Tanvir is calling. Now, so I'm telling I want to sort this points. That is what I've written points dot sort. It means I'm telling to Python to please sort whatever you have in this. Okay, so that's why I've written points dot sort. Now lambda point. So this point means I'm giving this as an input and I'm telling to sort it. Point zero means please sort based on the first element of each tuple. So now if I'm considering the first tuple 2, 3, what is the first element here?
2.
2.
Second tuple 1, 5, what is the first element here?
1.
1. 4 comma 1. What is the first element?
4.
4. Now the first element of first tuple is 2. First element of second tuple is 1. First element of third tuple is 4. Out of 2, 1 and 4, if I have to sort it in ascending order, which one will come first?
1.
1.
1. It means tuple 1 comma 5. That is why first
Yeah.
we're getting
Yes.
tuple 1 comma 5. After 1, which one we will get?
2.
2. It means
2.
tuple 2 comma 3. That is why you're getting 2 comma 3. Then you have 4. It means tuple 4 comma 1. That is why you're getting 4 comma 1. But hold on. My intention from this example is not to make you understand how you can sort the content of a tuple. That is an old story we have already discussed. There are many ways you can do this. But what I want to explain you here is a little bit complex calculations या थोड़ा मोड़ा complex sorting भी your lambda can do. That is what I'm trying to prove here. You see, this is not very simple or straightforward things as compared to this. Here you might be thinking, अरे क्या है तनवीर, यहाँ पर तो स्क्वायर निकाल रहे हैं, यहाँ पर मल्टीप्लाई कर रहे हैं. Lambda can do this. What is the rocket science? That is what I'm trying to prove here. A little bit complex calculations can also lambda can do. You are telling lambda you have a list of tuple, right? And then you are telling sort it based on the first element of each tuple. That also your lambda can do. Is this point clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now, here in the same code, if I will write instead of 0, I will write 1. It means now I am telling a lambda function. I'm telling to Python, okay, I'm giving you input. What I want in the output, sort this list of tuple based on the second element. Now when you're giving 1, it means the second element. You have studied the index, right? 0 and all those things. So now I'm telling you I want to sort it based on the second element. So the second element is 3, second element is 5, second element is 1. Which one will be displayed first?
4, 1.
4,
1,
1. Then
4, 2,
2,
3.
3.
Then 2, 3. Then
I'm
1, 5.
executing it. Please
1,
check the
5.
output. Is this the correct output?
Yes.
Yes.
कुछ तो समझ में आ रहा होगा. Something is getting clear.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Similarly, you can now you might be thinking, Tanvir, okay, you have integers here, it is simple, okay, it can do. See this example. We have strings, John, Tom, Delhi, Chennai, Apple, Kiwi, some random strings I have taken. So now I'm telling lambda function Python, you have this input, but I want the output in a sorted manner based on the first element of each tuple. Now tell me what should be the output.
Apple kiwi.
Correct. Then
Welcome.
Delhi
Delhi,
Chennai.
Chennai.
that's all.
Delhi, Chennai.
Hope this is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, please don't
Yes.
ask me, कि Tanvir, this I can solve using this method. I have that another method. I have that method. I can solve this. I'm not commenting on it, boss. I know you can solve this using multiple methods. Like, see, when I was teaching you correlated query, if you remember in SQL, I taught you that with the help of finding highest salary, second highest salary, third highest salary, and a highest salary, right? At that point of time, you can ask, and I think many of you have asked, "Hey, Tanvir, this is complicated, yeah. We can solve it easily using rank or dense rank." I totally agree with you. But that was not my intention to see I can solve this nth highest salary with the help of correlated query. My intention there was to show you, hey, yes, what is the meaning of correlated query, how the correlated query works. That was the intention there. So that is what I'm trying to explain you. Your lambda function can do all those things. Now see, here I'm asking lambda function to sort it in descending order. When I've written reverse equals true, so it can so see, I'm adding complexity to it, right? Now here the reverse function was not there. I've added a reverse function to it as well. So now the lambda function will understand, oh, Tanvir is giving some input, he wants some output, but at the same time Tanvir wants this reverse equals true. It means Tanvir wants in the descending order now. Now check the output. Is this based on the descending order on the first basis on the first element? क्या descending order में है? Verify करो.
हाँ.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. One thing, unfortunately, I have few more examples to cover, but all my licensed version of Zoom has been used by another trainer. उन लोगों ने use कर लिया, तो maybe it will get disconnected in few minutes. So if you want, I can schedule another session maybe next week. Yeah, if you want, immediately I will schedule I will create a new session. Okay, so based on your request. देखते हैं जब तक ये cover हो पाता है. Okay, now see, this is another example. Okay, so here we have functors, we have a library reduce, and with the help of that, we have this numbers. Okay, I will explain this at a later point of time. पहले ये बताने दो. So I have this variable numbers. It has this list, and it has the elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very simple. This I have.
One question, Tanvir. The above one. Key equal to lambda. What exactly you are trying to say with that?
Just we are telling this is the syntax actually. We are telling to Python कि I'm going to use the lambda function here. Okay, so that is why we have used it. वो एक syntax है आपका.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Now in this example, you see I'm executing it. देखो, the answer is 120. So this is a very good example to understand कि oh, what additional lambda function can do. उससे और क्या क्या हम करा सकते हैं. So here we have used the reduce function. That is the main thing which I want to cover here. The reduce function, it works in a cumulative way. And how in your stateful you have that cumulative sum, you're running sum, you might remember आप लोगों ने पढ़ा है window function में ना, the cumulative sum or the running sum. You remember that? याद है आप लोगों को?
Yes.
Isha.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
So
Yes.
the
Yes.
same thing is happening here. This reduce what it will do. So I'm telling to the lambda function कि I'm giving x and y as an input. So what is the input here?
X, comma,
y. ठीक है. What is the output here?
X into
X into y. But we are giving some additional intelligence. Now, can you tell me why the output is 120? कोई बता सकता है?
it is multiplied 1 into 2, 2 into 3, 3 into 4, and 4 into
Okay.
5.
Yeah.
This concept is known as what in mathematics?
Factor.
Correct. Fact?
Factorial.
Factorial.
Right.
Factorial.
इसमें I will suggest, always I used to suggest mathematics strong कर लो सबको यार. आने वाले टाइम में बिना mathematics के बहुत मुश्किल है. So start working on mathematics, guys. बहुत ही जरूरी है. In my current MTech course, those who are weak in mathematics, they are struggling like anything. So make a routine at least 15 minutes on a daily basis. You have to spend on mathematics if you want to explore your career in data science, AI, ML. Very important. Okay, distracted from the topic. Now coming back to this. Now, how this reduce function works, let's try to understand. So I have given the input here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this reduce function will take the value one by one. So first of all, it will take x equals 1 and y equals 2. And then it will derive the multiplication. X into y will give you 1 into 2, 2. Then in the second iteration, now this 2 will be stored and then it will take the value 3. So then it will be multiplied 2 into 3, right? So already you have 2 here, that is one input, and the other one 3 it will take from here. So 2 into 3, 6. Then it will pick the next value, 4. 6 into 4, 24. And then it will pick the next value, 5. 24 into 5 is 120. So this is the task of your reduce function. So it is like cumulatively, it will take the items of an iterable. Like here I've taken the list. So from the list, it will pick the element step by step. So here from this example, what I'm trying to show you is the lambda function. How many arguments of the parameters it is taking? 2 arguments,
2.
x and y,
2.
correct? And then it is performing some product of it, x into y, and it is giving you the output of it. Is this point clear?
Yes.
Now, you might be thinking, yo, Tanvir, this is working for list. Can we use this for tuple? Yes, you can use this for tuple as well. You see, I have using tuple here. The bracket I have changed. I'm getting the same output. You can use this for tuple as well. Okay. You are thinking, okay, you are doing multiplication. Can we do summation? Yes, you can do summation as well. You have written plus. So all these things your lambda function can do. Summation, subtraction, and many other things are there. Okay. And okay, your filtering and all those things, many other things are there. So net, a lot of things your lambda function can do. Let me show you one more example. See here, I'm telling lambda function, yeah, I'm giving you this degree Celsius. कुछ तो यहाँ पर हुआ है lambda reduce मैंने यूज कर लिया ना. Okay, list map use करना चूंकि reduce will take two arguments. I have to take only one argument, so I have to use map function here. Yeah, later I will cover what is map function and all those things because now I'm targeting only lambda function. So see here, I am providing one input C. Here I am trying to convert this degree Celsius into Fahrenheit, and this is the formula to convert degree Celsius into Fahrenheit, right? So I'm telling Python, it convert this degree Celsius, take the value one by one from here, and perform this operation. So this lambda function will take first of all 0. It will multiply 0 with 9 by 5 plus 32. It will give you this output. So all these things you can do with the lambda, whether you have a simple calculation or you have a tough calculation. You want to sort something, you want to use reduce function, you have to use map function, you can do all these things with the help of lambda. But wherever you have to do complex calculations, which has a lot of steps, don't do with the lambda function. Wherever you have a simple steps, straightforward steps, then go for the lambda function. So this is the summary of it. Hope this is clear.
Yes.
Are you clear here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine then. So I will stop here
So,
and you tell me.
so here you are
Uh,
passing the value in other way, and before example you were passing value inside print. So this is little confusing.
Which example?
Like, can you see your example before, like in line number maybe 5 or 6? Can you see?
Number 5 and 6, huh? So here I provided this value directly. Okay, so we are continuing this session. So now Navita has asked a question. Navita, please correct me if I have not understood your question. So Navita was telling that Tanvir, here you have provided the input, right? And here you have not provided the input. Is that your question, Navita?
No, no, sir. Can you come to the
Hmm.
line
Two
number, I
hundred,
don't know, number
also.
3, 4, maybe 3 or 4?
But here I'm getting some background noise.
Example.
Let me mute everyone. Now, Navita, you can unmute and ask. Line number 3, 4, you're telling. Yes. Haji, yeah. Hmm.
Yes, yes. So like here
Hmm.
you have passed the value in other way.
Hmm. ठीक है.
Inside
यहाँ
print,
पर
I'm
क्या है ना,
talking about.
in this line number 3, we are just defining, okay, I want this lambda function where I will give you two inputs and you have to calculate the product of it, right? And here I'm hard coding the values. है ना?
Yeah,
Here I'm
exactly.
telling you,
That I
here I'm
want to
hard
ask.
coding the.
Yeah, can we do also in that last example? Can we do in other way also? In
एक
your
सेकंड रुको,
last
पहले
example.
पहले पहले मुझे कंप्लीट करने दो, एक मिनट, लेट मी कंप्लीट फर्स्ट.
Okay.
So in line number 3, I'm providing two hard-coded values, and for this I'm telling lambda function, your Python, to perform this operation. Okay. Now here what I have done, here also I'm providing the input, but for this I'm telling lambda again to sort it. But the way how I'm giving input here is I have taken the list of tuple, and for this I'm telling you perform this operation, right? Now in this example, if you'll take the example of this reduce function, या फिर this map function. So here what will happen when I'm using this reduce function, so this reduce function knows, इसको मालूम है कि the input which will be given, what is the input you have given here, okay, x and y you have given here, right, as an input. So here it knows if for this numbers I have to take two values at a time, तो दो दो values करके उठाना है. This reduce function knows that. That is why when I have just written numbers here, it knows SketchUp from these numbers I have to take two values at a time. This is because of reduce function से ये हो रहा है. तो ये बेचारा reduce क्या करता है, यहाँ से दो values उठाता है. It provide those values to x and y. Lambda is not doing anything here. The value which is getting feeded to this x and y, this task is done by this reduce function here. So lambda to bus it value, is value ko utha ke it will perform the multiplication here and it will give you that output, and that will be stored in this product variable. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. So that I was not thinking that reduce is doing all the things. So That's why I
My
asked.
bad, वो
Thank you.
मिस हो गया. Okay, but this is how it is working. So these two values, ये जो value उठा रहा है ना, so this task is done by this reduce function, and this reduce function is feeding those values to this x and y. और फिर वो lambda कह रहा है ठीक है मेरे को तो value मिल गया, now he will perform the multiplication here. Now, same way when I'm using this map, तो ये map क्या करेगा? It will pick one value at a time. So it will pick this value 0 from here. It will assign to the C. So the value of C for the first iteration will be 0. Now lambda will check, acha, I got the value of C as 0 in the first iteration. So in the first iteration, what will happen? First iteration में, the value of C will be 0. So with the value of C0, then lambda will perform this operation. It will give it that it is 32. You can check it will be 32, I think. 9 by 5 will be 1.8, 1.8 होगा. Or then you're multiplying with C, तो C तो 0 है तो वो 0 हो जाएगा, it will be 32 only. Then you will take the value of 1. Then you can keep on means performing this operation, and then you will get this set of values. So here, this map function, it will pick one value at a time. It will feed it here, and the lambda will perform this operation. That's all. Any other
Yes, sir.
question?
No, sir. Thank you.
One question
Mm.
from my end.
हाँ जी.
When you define key equal to lambda, where is if they're using any normal function and like we'll use any
It
other
depends on the
keyword for that, or
syntax.
like
You are totally right.
okay.
Somewhere I have written, somewhere I have not written. It depends on the syntax of it. Generally, when you are using
Okay.
the sorting functionality, so there you have to mention it. For sorting, I have covered. If
Okay.
you go through that class, there I have covered it in
Okay.
detail.
Okay.
Okay. One thing I want to understand your feedback. Okay, I'm planning. I have some set of topics which was given by different students of different batches. कि तन्वी ये topic cover करो. So I'm planning कि once in a week I will take this session. So agar if I will ask about the timing, you all will tell different time. So I can understand that will be a debatable topic. Okay, but that is my intention. I'm keeping this recording public. Whether you are my student or anyone else, they can go through that. So what else you want here? Yeah, ये format ठीक है.
Format is fine, but I think we can fix maybe Sunday any one timing so that everyone
बहुत
will be aware
अच्छे.
in well advance.
I totally agree.
Maybe 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, like that. Maybe
नहीं ये तो आप
kind
बिल्कुल
of.
सही कह रहे हो. एक फिक्स टाइमिंग होना चाहिए अखिल. करते हैं उसको यार. Slowly I will try to
And
streamline it.
secondly, actually, I personally wanted to understand your MTech journey and all. I mean, you mentioned last time, right? If you can take one session on that,
One session I will
it
take
will
it.
be
Yeah. It's really fruitful. I'm getting to learn a lot of new things. So hey, it's very useful actually. So we will take a session. Okay, I will cover there. Yeah. Anything else?
Tanvir, one question related to Lambda. So we can say that Lambda is a feature of Python.
Yes.
Yeah.
आप कह सकते हो कि
And
it's a feature of Python. Yes.
yeah, okay. And is it different from what we see at the AWS level, Lambda function?
वो डिफरेंट है. देखो
Okay.
लैम्डा विच यूर यूजिंग इन AWS. तो AWS वो तो पूरा आपका Amazon का है, राइट? सो दे हैव देयर ओन सेट ऑफ टर्म्स. अब जैसे आई विल गिव यू वन एग्जांपल. राइट नाउ आई एम वर्किंग ऑन Snowflake. So in Snowflake, when you're writing the same SQL queries, so it has some other intelligence. I will give you one example quickly. You remember that group by? आप लोगों को याद होगा ग्रुप बाय, है ना?
yes, yes.
Suppose I'm writing select employee name, let's say gender, okay, comma, count of a star, some dummy query I'm preparing here from employee. Then you remember the rule number 1, which I have taught in each and every batch. You whatever columns you have in select along with aggregate, all the columns has
Those
to be
should
in
be
group by.
mentioned.
है ना?
Group by.
ये यहाँ पर होना चाहिए. We have studied this.
Yes.
Even if you will miss a single
Yes.
column, it will throw error message. Now, very interesting thing in Snowflake. A Snowflake, you don't have to mention it. You just write group by all. Snowflake को समझ में आ जाएगा कि oh, Tanvi is telling whatever columns I have in select, I have to use all the columns here. So the database and the different means tools and the languages based on the vendor, they're getting intelligence. तो ये भी तो एक intelligence का example है ना. So they have the internal architecture of a Snowflake. They have injected this intelligence कि अगर किसी ने all लिख दिया तो तुम समझ जाओ भाई कि सिलेक्ट में जो भी कॉलम है वो सब यूज करना चाहते हो। नाउ यू डोंट हैव दैट बर्डन ऑफ कॉपिंग ऑल दोस कॉलम्स। कभी कभी आप मिस कर देते हो तो इट विल थ्रो एरर मैसेज। नाउ यू डोंट हैव दैट बर्डन। नाउ you just write group by all. That's equal. The Snowflake engine will understand. Yo, Tanvir is telling, I want to consider all the columns in select. That's all. And interesting, right? Then in Snowflake you have that qualify as well. I have covered in the previous ad hoc session. So slowly the things are
Yes.
getting intelligent. So this is very interesting thing we discovered actually, because sometimes like you are presenting something to your client. Take care. So there, what happens in select, you have a lot of columns. Now you by mistake you missed one column in group by. Now your query is throwing error message. अब आप ढूंढते बैठ रहे हो यार कहाँ पे कौन सा column छूट गया, क्या हो गया, क्या नहीं हो गया. So you just write group by all. It will give you answer. बट मेरा एक्सपेक्टेशन क्या है कि द साइंटिस्ट, द इंजीनियर्स, दे शुड थिंक. मेरा तो कहना है कि ग्रुप बाय की जरूरत ही क्यों है, इसको हटा ही दो. इफ आई एम राइटिंग दिस क्वेरी, द इंजन शुड गेट दिस इंटेलिजेंस कि ग्रुप बाय उसको यूज करनी है, वो तो लिखेगा ही लिखेगा, राइट? तो ऑटोमेटिकली इट शुड गिव मी आंसर फॉर दिस अलोन. क्योंकि आप ग्रुप बाय एम्प्लॉय नेम लिखूंगा तो इट विल थ्रो एरर, ग्रुप बाय जेंडर लिखूंगा इट विल थ्रो एरर. सो दिस इज अ कॉमन सेंस कि ग्रुप बाय में सारे कॉलम्स यूज करने हैं. तो मे बी फ्यूचर में शायद engineers or the scientists, they will think about it and they will implement this scenario as well. So slowly the things are getting intellect, right? ठीक है. Any other question? No? Fine then. So thanks a lot for attending.
Thank you.
I hope you all have enjoyed. We'll connect next week. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Tanvir.